Today we're taking a look at the new 2026 Mach 30 and 33 FDS by PSE Archery. Welcome back to Mike's Archery, and we are taking a look at the new 2026 lineup from PSE, and they have done some little changes to the Mach 30 and 33 all in the cam. They're calling it the FDS, and that is the new cam option. We're going to take these two bows together because we're just looking at basically the same bow from last year with new cams. So as we go down through here, it's all about the cams and the speeds that we're getting out of these bows. So as we look at the new Mach 30, we're seeing a speed rating on that one of 348, and then the 33 is coming in at 342 feet per second. With an axle-to-axle, obviously, of a 30 and a 33, and that gives us an overall cam-to-cam length on the 30 of 35 3/4 of an inch, and then on the 33, we have got 39 inches cam-to-cam. As we look at the brace heights, obviously on the 30, you're a little shorter at 5 7/8, and then on the 33 model, we're at 6 3/8. The advertised weights on these two bows is 3.6 and 3.9 respectively. As we took them out of the box and we weighed them, the 30 comes in at 4.2, and then as we stripped everything down and we looked at the real world weight here with nothing on it, it's at 4 pounds even. And then with the 33, we got 4.6 out of the box and 4.0 also on that one after we stripped it down. Now when we look at these new cams, obviously the draw length option is a little different for the two of them, but it's only an inch different. On the 30, you're going to be able to get this from a 24.5 on the low end out to 30 inches draw length on the long side of things. So fitting most everybody out there and exactly what we expect to see out of a 30-inch axle-to-axle bow. Now as you go to the 33, you're going to gain an extra inch on the long end of things. So you lost it on the short end coming in at 25.5, and then you're able to get out to a 31-inch draw on this 33 axle-to-axle. Now as we look at the draw weight options, it's the same as PSE has always had for many years. You're able to get any of these bows in a 50, 60, 70, or 80 pound option. Now as we look at the let-off on these new cams, that is what has changed a little bit. The standard cam that's coming in with the standard module on this new FDS cam is going to allow you 4 options of let-off, but you are going to lose that 90% option on the top end of things. Obviously that is a little bit of an issue if you like that 90%, but it's probably going to give you a little bit more holding weight, making this bow a little bit more stable at full draw with 85% let-off. Now as you adjust it, it's got a new flatter stop on this new mod, which is going to give it a little better back wall, although the original back wall was rock solid. This just gives a little more space on there to hit that cable and hold it solid. And as you adjust it, you can go all the way from 70, 75, 80, or 85% on these mods. Now you can trade those out to the new performance mod and you'll gain a few feet per second and you can go to a lower let-off. It's going to allow you to go all the way down to a 65% let-off and then out to an 80% let-off on that performance mod. Now when we're looking at these new FDS cams over the EC cams from last year, which you can still get, you're going to gain about 8 feet per second, give or take, over an EC cam with these new cams. It's going to give you a more linear draw curve, holding that weight a little bit longer through it, not as much drop off, and that's where you're getting that extra bit of speed out of this cam. From there, obviously all the standard features that we've seen out of the Mach 30 or 33 for the last several years. You've still got all your integration with your pick mount sight up front. You've obviously got your integration on the back for your integrated rest. Pull that off, you can do a Hamskea core mount as well. You've still got all your string stops, your little stubby stabilizer, front stabilizer holes, all the standard tuning stuff. You've still got your 220 shim system built in there. So if you want to tune this bow, simple, easy, loosen some screws on those threaded axles, pop those in and out, swapping them back and forth, and you've got some new shim options in there to micro tune that a little bit. Obviously all your dampening stuff with the dead frequency carbon. It's all the same thing that we've had in the past, making for a fantastic bow, and that Mach 30 and 33 have been a platform and a staple for the last several years that is shooting great. Now as we look at the color options for this year, they are changing up a few things there. We're going to have 4 solid options with a black, a clay brown, a charcoal, and then a green olive. On the camo side of things, we're still going to have that Kryptek Skyfall, as well as Kuiu Verde and Bottomlands. The major change for this year is no bronze cams or pocket options on the new bows for 2026. Looked sweet, but you're not going to see them going forward. Now as we take a look at the price point on these two bows, they have stayed the same, and it's going to be the same for this year, $19.99 across the board regardless of which model you choose. From here we're going to step back to the lane. We're going to shoot these bows over the chronograph so we can show you that extra speed that these new cams are getting. As usual, we will shoot them at 29-inch draw length, 70 pounds, and for this year, 85% let off. All right, so we have stepped back here on the lane, and we've got both the new Mach 30 and 33 FDS. We're going to shoot these over the chronograph. We're going to start with the Mach 30, and we're going to shoot that as we always do on 29-inch draw length, 70 pounds, and at 85% let off. We're going to start with a 350 grain arrow, and we'll work our way up from there so you can see how much faster these new cams are over last year's Mach 30. All right, so with a 350 grain arrow, we're getting 336. So that's cranking out some pretty good speeds. Now, as we move up to the 400 grain arrow, all right, 400 grain arrow, we're getting 312. So dropping off a little bit there. And then as we head up to a 450 grain arrow, we've got 295. So just dropping under 300 feet a second there at 295. And last but not least, a big heavy 500 grain arrow. All right, and that drops down to 281. So you can see it's definitely gaining some speeds. If you go back and watch the original Mach 30 video from last year, you can kind of compare those numbers, but definitely coming in a little bit faster. And then as we look at the decibel reading on that bow, we're getting that at 98.2. So a little bit louder, but you got to expect that. You get more speed, it's going to get that. We do test that with a 400 grain arrow to get those decibel readings. So as we talk about this bow, obviously we've already mentioned these new FDS cams and the speed that they're getting, the adjustability here on the mods with that bigger, flatter mod stop, and so gives it a little more solid on the back wall, a little more space on the cable. Like I said, they've been rock solid for years, but this just gives it a little more space on that cable to make it a little firmer. And then as you pull through this, you can tell on the draw cycle that's a little more aggressive. It's not tremendously more aggressive than an EC cam, but you will notice it. If you shot the EC cam and you step up to this one because you want to gain some speed back because of short draw length or lighter poundage, whatever your reason is, you're going to feel it. It's going to be a little more aggressive cam, but like I said, it still feels great, has a solid draw cycle coming through, does not drop off terribly at the back wall, and then as we've seen for years out of these bows, just a nice dead in the hand feel. Same grip, same feel after that. I think you're just going to gain some extra speed and performance out of these bows. And if you really want to get those lower or higher holding weights with a lower let off, then you can certainly do that as well with this bow with that other performance mod. So let's step over and grab the 33 now and see what kind of numbers it puts up. All right, so we've grabbed that 33 Mach FDS here. We're going to put it through its paces, same specs again, a little longer axle to axle, so you're going to see a little bit slower speeds out of this one, but it's going to be a little more forgiving, a little smoother through the draw cycle, I'm sure, but that's what you get with a little longer bow. So let's start with that 400 grain arrow again and see what kind of numbers this puts up. All right, so with a 400 grain arrow, we're getting 328. So for a 33-inch axle-to-axle bow, that's pretty solid. As we move up here to a 400 grain arrow, see what this gives us here. All right, so 400 grain arrow giving us 309, dropping off a little bit there. And as we go up to a 450, so the 450, we got 290, and then as we drop in to the 500 grain arrow here, obviously we're going to see a little more drop off with these heavy arrows. So on the 500 grain arrow, we got 279, just dropping under 280. So overall, a little better performance, a little better speeds with this FDS cam than what you're seeing out of an EC cam. On average, about 8 feet per second, give or take. From last year's bow over that EC cam. So same thing here as we drop in and get that decibel reading on this bow coming in at 96.5. And so with that, obviously a little quieter than the 30 because it's a little slower. So that's just to be expected, but you know, nice average numbers that you're going to be a nice quiet hunting bow, nothing you're going to notice, especially once you get it weighted up in a hunting setup. Again, this new FDS cam a little more aggressive than what we see out of the EC, but the 33 is going to roll through a little smoother, and it does. As you come back, you'll see it, probably even in the way I draw and hold in the video. It's just a little smoother cam on that longer axle to axle. You're going to be a little more forgiving with it, which is to be expected. It's just going to hold a little better and sit a little better for you, but that full draw stability they've had for the last several years makes these Machs shoot really well. Again, dead in the hand, exactly what we expected. You're just getting a little more performance out of these cams. So fantastic upgrade if you're looking to get every feet per second out of a bow that you possibly can. Take a look at these new Mach 30 and 33s for 2026. Give us a call here at Mike's Archery. Stop in the shop anytime. You can shoot these bows, and we'll be glad to put one in your hands so you can enjoy a brand new PSE Mach.